Good morning slash afternoon, depending on what hour of day this is. As you can see, I'm currently in a hotel room and I am not there to teach you. So I apologize for that. While you're watching this, I will actually be driving back from South Carolina. So I am in a car while you are watching this. But I thought I'd give you a lesson for the day anyway, since I was gone all last week and you guys were probably bored out of your minds, right? Probably not, but I'm going to believe that anyway. So we're going to do a lesson today. Substitute is going to be there. She can help you with any questions that you may have. It's going to be on uh, reviewing vertex information, which you guys learned last week, Thursday, and then you took a quiz on that week stuff on Friday, which is not graded, by the way, so you won't get those back till probably Wednesday or Thursday this week. Then you are going to learn new stuff today called axis of symmetry, and it follows really closely. So I think you guys will be okay. There will be homework. Please do not come into school tomorrow saying, I didn't know we had homework, because I'm telling you this right now. So there is homework tonight. Make sure you do it. First things first, reviewing what we did last week. So I have an equation here. You don't know what it's really going to be. What's the degree? Is it quadratic? Is it linear? Is it cubic? What exactly is the point? Hint, hint, if I'm asking for the vertex, it is a quadratic, okay? Because that means we're looking for the highest or the lowest point of the parabola, that curved shape. So here we can draw in our lines. Actually, I have a tool for that. So we can draw lines in front of all of our addition and subtraction symbols to break up all of our terms. Doing this just makes it easier to see if you are adding or subtracting each term. Start with the largest exponent. So looking through here, my largest exponent is a 2. You can combine anything with an exponent of 2 here because they're all x squareds. So I'm going to do 2x squared subtract 4x squared and figure out what does that get me. The next thing I'm going to do is bring this negative 4x down. I'm going to use a different color since it's a different term. I'm going to bring that down because there's nothing to combine it with. And then lastly, we have constants. Those can be combined. So we have 6 minus 1. So match all the colors up and you will get a brand new expression. Remember, start with largest exponents. When you do this, I apologize, my colors are going to disappear when I do this. This should be your new expression because I did 2x squared minus 4x squared, which is negative 2, because 2 minus 4 is negative 2. I brought this negative 4x down, and then 6 minus 1 is 5. So you'll notice this has a degree of 2. Remember, degree just means what is your largest exponent. That's why we put it in order. It's just really easy to see, oh, largest exponent is the first one. It is a 2. Now we need to find the actual vertex. This is just the simplified equation of our quadratic. The vertex, I haven't taught you yet if it's going to be a high or a low, but you need to find an x and a y value. To do that, find your ABCs. Remember, do your ABCs. A is the number in front of x squared. B is the number in front of x. And C is your constant. It's the number at the very end. So when you do this, please be aware of if the number is negative or positive. Remember, subtraction symbols mean that it is a negative number. So our ABCs here are going to be negative 2, negative 4, 5. They go in order. You are going to use this in the formula I taught you last week, Thursday, to find the vertex. X equals negative b divided by 2a. And then I'm just going to show you the work for that right up here, since I can't write it out on the board for you. So this is the formula I taught you. Negative b divided by 2a. Remember, I also read that as opposite b, because I know the negative can get a little confusing. So the opposite of negative 4. So this here is my b value, another b value. So I'm plugging negative 4 here. So the opposite of negative 4 is actually positive 4. It's like saying, what is negative negative 4? Two negatives make positive. So I wrote it down here as negative, -4, but you could have just put a +4 up top and been done with it. I find that simpler. Then we're going to do 2 times our a value. So substitute -2 in for our a. That's why I got this equation down here. Negative -4 is 4. 2 times -2 is -4. Divide those. 4 divided by -4 is -1. We have now found our x value of our vertex, just the first piece. But remember, we need x and y. So we got to think for a second, how do I use the information that I have right now to find my y variable? Well, hint, hint, you wrote the formula for y. It's up above. Y equals, and then it tells you exactly what it is. It's just like the formula I gave you down here, x equals some formula. You wrote this up above, just use it. So instead of x in these two locations, you are going to put -1. This is substitution. So we're going to do -2 times -1 squared minus 4 times -1 plus 5. When you do this, remember you can do the mental math. -1 squared, I'm going to do this fast just because I know you guys don't like the mental math. But -1 squared is 1 times -2 is -2. Then -4 times -1 is a +4. -2 plus 4 is 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. So we got x is -1, y is 7, but you definitely could have plugged this in a calculator as you see it as well to get the exact answer you want. So visually, this is how you should be writing it. It needs to be in parentheses with a comma between it because that's telling you this is a point on a curve or a line or whatever. It's not really specific. We're looking at this parabola here. The highest point is what we just found, our vertex, -1, 7. Next thing we're going to review is something that we actually did in chapter 6, which was all on linear stuff. So that was lines, y equals mx plus b. And you have to remember that I might not give you a y variable. So I want you to just think about this for a second. What's going to happen if I ask you to graph a line like x equals 2 or x equals -4? There's no y variable. So I'm just going to pause. Okay, I hope you remember. If you didn't, that's all right. Just remember if it's x equals, think about what axis is x. In this case, it is my horizontal axis, and we want a line to go through that axis at this number. So for x equals 2, 2 is going to be right here. We want a line to go through that. So I'm just going to draw a straight line through 2. That is a linear equation. It's allowed to be like that. Same exact concept with the -4. Just look for where x is -4 and draw a vertical line straight through it. So both of these, to find a vertical line, it's x equals something, some number. If I said x equals 7, it'd be a vertical line at 7. If I said x equals -2.5, it'd be a vertical line at -2.5. So x equals creates vertical lines. The next thing that you have to know, which I believe you already do, is what is symmetry? Well, symmetry is just a mirror image. So if we drew a line through all of these pictures somewhere, it should be able to basically fold in half and match up exactly. It's just like if you looked in a mirror image, symmetry. Like in this butterfly, if we drew a line straight down the middle of it, a vertical line, we could fold that butterfly in half and it would match up perfectly. Same thing with the Batman symbol over here. If we drew a line straight down the center of it, it would fold up exactly. The picture of the city here actually feels a little different because it's sideways. So we would have to draw a horizontal line because it's reflecting off the water, but it's still symmetrical. Doesn't matter where the line goes as long as you can draw a line somewhere and create symmetry. So we are going to apply this to our quadratic, our parabola. axis of symmetry, same exact thing, can be used in a parabola. So to find this, we're actually going to use the equation that I taught you Thursday. Ta-da! So all of the work that you learned on Thursday was not useless. It can be used for two things, to find the vertex and to find the axis of symmetry, both things. I have it written over here again in case you don't have it written down or you forgot it. X equals negative b divided by 2a. That actually is going to represent your line. Remember what I just did in the 2 slides back where I said x equals 2 or x equals negative 4 and it was a vertical line? Same thing here. This is x equals whatever number we get is where the vertical line is going to be drawn directly through my parabola. That line cuts my parabola in half. So think about why the vertex has the exact same formula as the axis of symmetry. We'll get more on that tomorrow when I actually see you guys, but I bet you could do it without me. So try and think, why are the formulas the same? Why in the world does the axis of symmetry use the x equals from the vertex? Hint, hint, the picture should help. So we're going to do an example. This equation earlier is what we actually did. So the review that I did at the beginning of this lesson, we found that the vertex was negative 1, 7. So think about, where is the axis of symmetry going to be? Where can I draw a vertical line to cut this graph, cut this parabola directly in half? So think about it for a second. Don't just say a number, give me an equation. Because if you just say, like 6, that doesn't mean anything to me. What is the equation of the line? Okay, I hope you got it by now. If you don't substitute, feel free to pause the video and let them think a little longer. Feel free to discuss. But in this case, remember how I said the x equals happens to be the exact same thing for the vertex? Well, the vertex is at negative 1 for my x value. See how the dot's right above the negative 1 on my x-axis? So if I drew a line straight through my vertex, it cuts my graph in half. So this side is a mirror image of this side. So the equation for this should be x equals negative 1, because that is where I drew my line through. Okay, make sure to direct any questions towards your neighbors even, so your fellow students can help you out. So here's another example. I'm not asking you to find the vertex, I want the axis of symmetry. So you're only doing half the work here. Make sure this is simplified and in order. You have to find your ABCs. If it's out of order, your ABCs are going to be a little trickier. So if you said A was 5, B was 4, and C was negative 2, gotcha. Because notice how this, the negative 2x, that's a higher exponent than my positive 4. You got to reorder it first. Then you can say what your ABCs are. So I just pulled this negative 2x up to the front and pulled the positive 4 to the back. So my A is 5, my B is negative 2, my C is 4. Throw this into that equation that I taught you on Thursday, x equals negative b divided by 2a. Well, the opposite of b, so we're looking at this b here, the opposite of that is 2. And we're going to divide that by 2 times my a value. Opposite of b is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 divided by 10 is 0.2. So I have my picture over here to show you. Not everything is going to be a beautiful whole number. Sometimes you're going to get decimals. That's okay. But notice how I drew my line through 0.2. I've got decimals down here. So this big fat line is actually at 0.5. So a little further to the left, we got 0.2. So just make sure when you are writing these equations, when I ask you to find the axis of symmetry, you need to say x equals blank. When I ask you to find the vertex, it is a point, x comma y. So know the difference between those. Vertex is a point, so like this little X mark, that's a vertex, whereas axis of symmetry is a line. So be aware of the difference between the two. I'm going to let you guys loose now on homework. Make sure it is done by tomorrow. I will be checking this for points. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.